Hello and welcome. Carrie here from Healing Humanity, the power of a proper human diet. And today I'm thankful, grateful, blessed to have Melissa B on the channel. Melissa, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. It is early morning here in Australia, so I'm up bright and early.
Nice. So we had a call, that was a couple months ago, I think. But you are currently undertaking a big project. You want to talk a little bit about that? What you got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, so I've been carnivore for a while now, and it's completely changed, how I live and how I feel, and something I'm a huge advocate for. And here in Australia, I wasn't quite sure about the carnivore community. I mean, a lot of the people that I follow are over in the US, and I'd seen some big events that were happening over there to bring communities together. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be really great if we could bring together some really incredible leaders in the space here to Australia into one room for one day and create an experience like we haven't had before. And yeah, so I reached out to some incredible people, including you. And we have an event here in Australia in November that is selling very, very quickly and gaining huge momentum. And I'm really pleasantly surprised, I guess, at how many carnivores here in Australia are coming out of the woodwork and coming to join us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I just put it up on the screen. So it's in
Yes.
Adelaide, Australia, November 23rd. Carnivore Collective Live. Love the name. And it's quite a lineup. So let me see if I can scroll down here. So we got Dr. Anthony Chafee, Natalie West, Bradley Marshall, Dave Mack. Wow, this is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, Bart Kay, Anthony Fayez, Liam, and Dr. Carolyn Harris is a local doctor here in Adelaide who's doing some amazing things in the space also. And I guess the idea of having these speakers all together is to bring all different uh, people with all different backgrounds, all different experiences, but basically doing the same thing for the same cause, which is to help people live and feel and be well. And I think that's, it's not just about us sitting here and advocating for eating meat. It's about what is it that we're experiencing through this, and why do we want to share it with other people? And we're all on the same path. We all want to do the same thing. Oh, Bella and you, of course, are coming from America. Um, which is amazing. So there's a lot of very excited people to be in that space that day. And it's not just it's not just a seminar, because there's a lot of people here who can share a lot of information, but it's more about experience on the day. We'll have exhibitors set up where they can interact with people and try products and we'll have like a wellness space, like a relaxation space. And on the stage in between speakers, I've got some really exciting things actually lined up for people to share and to see, and to it's not just a seminar, it's really a day of fun and learning, which is really exciting for me.
That's so cool. Yeah, I just got back from Hack Your Health in Austin, and
Yes.
it was sort of the first big event I've been to, and it was so much fun. It was so interesting. I learned so much just to be in a room with a bunch of other carnivores, ketovores, proper humans, the people that really
Mhm.
get that carnivore energy going. It was incredible. I was kind of hooked. I'm like, I want to do another one after this. So I've never been to
I think
Australia either, so that's going to be exciting. So and
Yeah, fantastic. I think I agree with you, and that's just one of the reasons why I thought I would try and make this happen, because there's a lot happening in the US, and I just felt that I needed to step up and take the lead here and bring people together, because it's all about connection and also sharing information and seeing what other people are experiencing. Because I guess the greatest form of I don't know, not education, but it's like if you want to find out about a product, for example, I'll go and read all the reviews. So I like when people ask me about carnivore, because I share my firsthand experience. And I guess when you get into a room with speakers and leaders like this, and so many other carnivores that are there going to be attending, like you're surely going to learn so much and feel empowered by that information that's being shared, enough to make an informed decision for yourself, I guess, going forward. And that's one of the biggest goals for me in an event like this.
For sure. Yeah. Plus, besides all of that, it's just cool meeting some of these people we watch on YouTube. Like when Dr. Anthony Chafee comes into the room, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty exciting. He's so accessible. He's so nice. You just go up and talk to him, ask him questions, and I don't know, carnivores are just some of the coolest, nicest people.
Well, I'm not surprised about that because of how carnivore makes you feel. You know, one of the things that we don't talk about enough, I don't think, with carnivore is that mental clarity and also like being your best self. So how you're feeling on the inside. And I think that's why carnivores actually are like this, because they're just living life, you know, and they've got the carnivore glow, as they say.
Yeah, you get rid of that brain fog, you get the carnivore glow. A lot of us sort of get a second chance at life, and it's fun to hang around people like that for sure. The energy is just incredible. I'm
Yeah,
looking
absolutely.
forward to speaking. We're going to be sharing more about our documentary, Healing Humanity. We have so much more to share because when we were in Austin that I just mentioned, we filmed 14 more individuals, including Dr. Anthony Chafee. So we're going to be sharing some behind the scenes, some photographs, some stories of just really inspiring stories of people overcoming incredible health issues, eating a proper human diet. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. We shared it in Austin similarly, but we have so many more people and so many more stories we've filmed since then that we're going to be able to share while we're out there. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Hey, Kerry, have you noticed how's it been for you in the last couple months? I just feel like whether it's the algorithms or not, I'm not sure, but I am seeing so many stories of people coming out saying what carnivore is doing for them. Like all of a sudden, it's just in your face and people are knowing about it, which is great. Is that what you're finding?
It is absolutely. I'm approaching 500 days, and it's hard for me and you because we're carnivores and we're on there all the time. But it's noticeably like just blowing up lately. I'm seeing so many people coming out of the woodwork talking about doing carnivore. My wife and I own our small town movie theater. I'm in the movie theater now, so we talk to the
Yeah.
public a lot. And I've been having people coming in that are like, "I'm carnivore now." I'm like, "Say it louder! Like, what's going on here?" They're not. I heard recently, Melissa, I haven't verified this, but someone was telling me, you can go on Google Trends and you can put in a keyword to see how often something's getting searched for. And apparently carnivore has surpassed keto in terms of
Oh,
what people are
wow.
searching for on Google. It's really blowing up that big. So absolutely.
Fantastic.
I'm so happy to see it. And I'm not surprised either because it's amazing. Like people are sick of being sick and people are healing and it's incredible. And when you see a loved one healing like this, you start asking questions and you're like, what were they doing? And oftentimes
Mhm.
people are healing for one particular thing, like maybe type 2 diabetes. But then they're like, oh my goodness, I'm no longer depressed. My anxiety went away. My IBS, I didn't even know I had IBS, or I had arthritis in my elbow. And you start to see all these things and you get fired up. You want to share it with your loved ones. And so I think it spreads, and the reason it spreads too is because it works. Like people are having incredible success and it just works, unlike some diet programs or other ways of living, I guess, that aren't sustainable or that don't last.
I think the beauty of it is, and diets predominantly in the past have been reserved for, aesthetics, fat loss, and looking a certain way. But I guess the beauty of carnivore, like you said, is actually getting people healthy for the first time in a long time, and when you feel that feeling, there is nothing that compares. And so there's no reason why you would go back to eating a certain way, because why would I choose to go back to living like that? And I work and live around a lot of people who can't quite understand what it is that I do and why, yet I'm the one in the room that's looking healthy, vibrant, well, lots of energy. So this is what people need to understand. And when they're ready, I guess all we can do, I guess, like yourself, is lead from example, show people what's possible, share stories like we're doing with this event too. And that's how we create positive change. We're not telling anyone to do anything. We're just showing people what's possible.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we're doing with the documentary. It's just about
Yeah.
inspiring people, get those stories out there because I truly believe you can't change anyone. When we find this healing through carnivore, the first thing we want to do is just tell everyone, just do this, just do it, and they won't do it. I was
Mhm.
talking to a gentleman earlier, and he said it really well. He said people will either change through inspiration or desperation, and I'm like,
Yeah,
that is very true. And or they'll do neither, and it'll just be stagnation. They're just going to continue doing whatever they did while they've got that brain fog and they're kind of sick and not feeling well. My only thing that I tell people, I've chilled out a lot, Melissa, because I used to be so fired up. I'm like, you got to do this, just do it. Uh, my only thing though is, I've taken a step back for the people that have to hit rock bottom or have to get to the point of desperation before changing. I just hope that they don't wait too long, because I've interviewed several individuals for our documentary that have waited too long. For example, my buddy Lee Copus, Kent Carnivore, who lost his colon. He doesn't have a colon anymore. He's not going to get his colon back. He's got a colostomy bag for the rest of his life now. And he said had he found carnivore earlier, that wouldn't have been the case for him. Talk to people with cancer and other things like that aren't reversible. So hopefully if you're one of those people out there and you're on the fence and you're like, I don't need to do that, I'm just waiting. Hopefully you don't wait till it's too long and you can't reverse it.
absolutely. We want people to be making informed choices based on the information that they're looking into and researching themselves. Um, I think also it's interesting, like you said, I don't tell people anymore. So I don't tell people either. But it was funny. I was at work the other day, and a guy in the office comes past me, and he goes, "Mel," he said, "a little birdie tells me you only eat meat." And I said, "Yeah, that's very true." And he goes, "Oh my God, you need to tell me all about it. I would love to just eat meat." And so I told him a bit about it, and he's like, "Do you think I could really just do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I do." And he's like, "You know what? I might give it a shot." So if you show people, when they're ready, they will ask.
That's awesome. That's life changing. That's incredible. And I always tell people too, sometimes you want to help someone so bad, but you may be helping them without realizing it, because you're planting a seed and now they have this as an option. And if they get some horrible depression or some issue, and they'll at least have this as an option they can come back to in the future, something to think about.
Very
Hopefully
true.
it'll.
And I don't know about you too, but people do not quite understand the idea that this can be a lifelong change. Oh, how long do I do this for? Or what I can't have any of that food ever again, or maybe I'll just try it for a little while and I'll stop, or they do try it for a little while and then they stop. So I think with any kind of change in behavior, people have to really give it a good shot, but also understand that there is, some people are stuck in certain ways, and sugar addiction is a huge thing, and mindset and willpower plays a big part in this. So getting them to want to change is the first thing, but then actually taking action and doing it is another thing, and then sticking to it long enough to really feel the benefits, and then they'll never go back. So
Yeah.
it's not always an easy ride for people, and I've experienced that with some of my own coaching clients, where it's a process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's once you get over that hump, it becomes a lot more easy and manageable, but it's hard for a lot of people to get over that hump. I always find it so frustrating when people say to me, I could never do what you do. And I'm not trying to like be a show off or exaggerate, but I always just think this is literally the easiest thing in the world. Once you get over the hump and you get into it, like I don't even think about eating anymore. It's like the last thing on my mind. It's just kind of
Me
on
too.
auto.
Yeah, me too. Do you want to know what else? I've got two children, they're 9 and 11, and my daughter. So, kids are at that age a challenge we can influence what they eat by what we buy, but I can't make them eat what I'm eating or how I'm eating, right? So my daughter, who's 9, will see me in the morning, because I'm a big morning eater. I like to eat my biggest meal in the morning, and she sees me having 2 steaks, bacon and butter for breakfast, and she'll just come straight up to me, grab her plate, and just pretty much throw it in my face, and she's like, I want some. So I haven't told her to do that, and I've given her no reason to ask me, apart from the fact that she can see her mum's doing it every morning, and when she has it, she loves the taste, and she just wants more and more. So that's a great way for children to start to have more protein and meat in their lives, just showing them, leading by example.
Yeah. Yeah, leading by example is huge. My girls, I've got 4 girls, and for a while we were all carnivore. Now I think 3 out of 4 are. I don't know, but what I do know is most of them are most of the time, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a part of it is being patient. It's really hard, especially because they went their whole life eating those other things to just try to be able to be like, okay, now we're just going to do this kind of thing.
How old are
But
they, Kerry? How old are they?
we have triplets plus one, and the triplets just turned 17, and my
Oh,
oldest is
okay.
19. And so there's
Yeah.
challenges with my oldest, who's 19, who's still living at home. Like, I can't even tell her she's an adult now too, right? It's like, can't force you to do it, but she's had very good success with carnivore. And then she'll try to go back to moderation, and she'll kind of fall off for a while, and she'll be like, it's been a cycle. It'll be a couple weeks, and she'll be like, I really need to do full carnivore again, and then she'll jump back on it. But
You know
one of
what?
my
Do you know what?
triplets, oh,
Yeah, sorry,
sorry.
you go.
I
No,
was
you
gonna say
go.
one of my triplets, Emma. She was formerly vegan for 5 years. She's the most strict carnivore. She just
Wow.
surpassed a year, and she's absolutely thriving and loving it.
Wow. Good for her. That's fantastic. You know, also I find people, they feel like they're going to lose out in some way with regards to socializing. And what I find is there is so many ways to still be social and be a carnivore. So it's not like you're missing out on things. In fact, you know that you can make choices to pick places where you can eat food that's suitable, and it's in fact sometimes I feel like you enjoy your experiences better because on carnivore I honestly think that you see the world in a different light. You know, your experiences are enhanced. But when you go for a drive here in the Adelaide Hills, like the colours are more vibrant, like you're more alive. So you don't lose anything from a social perspective. You really actually gain a lot from what this kind of eating is doing to your body and your whole being when you're living life. You know, you're not ever losing out because, oh, I can't eat what I used to eat or go and have a different cuisine or have alcohol. You know, like you're actually gaining so much and they won't know, no one will really understand unless they have tried it for themselves, you know?
100%. Yeah. I think a lot of people, myself included, they get into this thing where, oh, I'm the weird one. I'm the one that only eats meat. And honestly, that might be weird for like 30 seconds, but I've learned to realize most people really don't care about what other people are doing. It may just for like a second or two, they're more worried about themselves than what you're eating or doing. They might find it a little
Mhm.
weird for a couple seconds and then they'll sort of move on. But I totally agree with your statement too on the colors are looking clear. Like everything is, I guess I want to be careful how I say it. On one hand, it seems like everything is enhanced and slightly better. But what I think is really happening is that's how it would have been for us had we been eating the proper human diet our whole lives. I
Yeah,
really feel like prior to this, it was almost like I was a little drunk, a little intoxicated with that brain
yeah,
fog. I was
that's
just a little,
that's true.
wasn't fully there 100%. I couldn't find my words. My cognitive ability was less. Even your senses were probably operating a little bit less because putting all those toxins and seed oils and your body is all inflamed, your brain's all inflamed. That this whole documentary too, like we're doing this for serious people overcoming serious medical issues using a proper human diet. Some of it's incredible, but if you take that and completely ignore it, all of that aside, the other reason I'm doing this is just for the regular American or person on the standard American diet, I should say, that's going to go their whole life with that brain fog.
Yeah.
Imagine that, Melissa, that these people go their entire lives never feeling like a proper human, like you and I do, with just total clarity. Go out and you see the beautiful hillside and you see all of the colors, and I just can't imagine. It's such a shame to me that many people, most people, will go their whole lives never feeling like you and I feel. Um,
Mhm.
hopefully,
Absolutely.
hopefully that'll change as we get the
I
word out
I'm
and it's
I'm pretty
spreading.
certain with what you're doing, it's gonna change, Kerry.
Yeah. Well, what you're doing too. So, just for those that are jumping on now, Melissa is hosting the Carnivore Collective Live in Adelaide, Australia, November 23rd. There is a link in the video description. There's a link in the chat too. Tickets are going fast, right? It's going to probably,
Oh, I think we're over halfway, like we're way over halfway now. So, you
wow.
know,
It's going to
um,
definitely sell out. I'm going to just say that on my own. You know what happens with these things, Melissa? Everyone wants to go, and then a lot of people are going to put it on their calendar, and they're going to wait till the last minute to book. That's a
Can't do.
mistake. If you
That's
guys
not
are
going to
thinking
happen.
of
That's not
going, you
going to
better
work with
book.
this one. They have to get in soon, because otherwise we have capacity in the venue, and we really can't put any more seats in there. So I really encourage people to buy their tickets early for this one, because it will sell out for sure.
Yeah, don't wait till the last minute. Just book it. It's going to be incredible. I'm really looking forward to hearing. I got to hear Bella speak at Hack Your Health, and she was incredible. I think that was one of her first speaking engagements. She knocked it out of the park. It was great. Dr. Chafee is always so good. Professor Bart K, I've heard so many times on YouTube, but never in the building in person. So I'm looking forward to that. It's
He's
such
good
a
fun.
great lineup.
Yeah. He's great fun. Do you know what else we're doing, Kerry? It's funny. I thought to myself, you've got over 300 carnivores in one room. Where are they all going to get their lunch from? So I actually contacted the restaurant at the bottom of the building where we're holding this event, and they are supplying, you can purchase with your ticket, a carnivore box. So it's really going to be probably a beef and lamb box for people to have for their lunch, and they're selling really well, because I don't know where anyone else would get their food from that day, because there's not very many places around, and for them to get what these people are going to be asking for, I thought let's just set it up so that we've got access to that for all of our participants. So if you're coming along, buy a ticket, and then you can buy lunch, a carnivore box as well.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Melissa, I was going to ask you, so for those jumping on, if you want more information, the link is in the description. How did you find carnivore diet? Like, what's your story?
Yeah, so I think it was 2021. I went through. So Anthony Fayez, who's one of our guest speakers, and he runs the Lean 7 program. So I met him and did his program and had a significant body transformation, like really changed the way I looked and felt, and was feeling amazing. And I like to set goals for myself once I hit a certain level, and I thought to myself, why don't I do a bodybuilding competition? And I never thought I would do a bikini body competition before, and so I set myself a new goal, and I was going to get on stage and do that. And about 4 weeks out from the competition, I got very sick, and I had to have a week or two off. And when you're counting every single day towards a goal, like, you can't miss out too much time, because you get behind, and so I was worried I wasn't going to make it. And he turned around as my coach and said, Mel, why don't you jump on carnivore for the last 4 weeks in the lead up to your comp? And I'm like, look, I'll just do whatever it takes now, because I haven't got time. And yeah, I've actually got a photo where it shows me a week apart from what I was doing, which was mainly keto, by the way, and then jumping onto carnivore. I think I dropped about 3 kilos in 1 week, and my body just suctioned in like I'd been vacuumed, and I just looked completely different. And I think it really helped in terms of aesthetics for that competition. But then what it did for me was I got to experience how I feel on carnivore, and I just continued doing it from then. I just never looked back, really.
And how long ago was it?
I think that was 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so did you say you do coaching now too?
Yeah, so I help mainly for men and women who are looking for creating some change in their weight, so some fat loss. But we talk about getting people healthy first, and then when they get healthy, they naturally get leaner, and then they look and feel younger. And one of the other things on carnivore for me is about feeling younger. Like, yes, I'm turning 41 soon, so I do look younger, but I feel so much younger on the inside. Like, I feel 18. And I think the reason why I picked that number is perhaps the last time I felt this vibrancy was when I was 18. And so on the inside, that's how I feel. So it gives you motivation, energy, drive to do things that, I wasn't doing before. I had put on a lot of weight. I was sick and stressed. You know, if we just want to go back a little bit, I did go through a bit of a journey of being diagnosed with tinnitus, which is, you know, a ringing in the ear. I was told would never go away. And then it set me on the journey of really looking at what I eat and how I live and the choices I make. And I had some positive results doing some things a certain way, but it wasn't the carnivore way. And that's how I started running events, because I always want to share what I learn with people, and I love running events. That's where my purpose is and my creativity comes out. Yeah, so I then, you know, went through a divorce, and I was, single mum and in survival mode. And so when I met Anthony back in 2021, I think it was just time to take care of myself. And that's where I had this massive body transformation and really, really stepped into a new version of me. And now with adding carnivore to the mix, like it's just incredible what I've been able to maintain in terms of health, wellness, mental health, and the way my body looks and feels. Now I help other people do the same. So if people, most people are just stuck. Don't have time. I don't know what to do. I've got this going on. I've put on some kilos, mostly mums around my age who have put their families first, and they just wanted to look after themselves again. Yeah, they come and ask for support, and I help them.
That's really cool. I used to honestly be more cynical about coaching. I'm like, we just eat meat. You don't need a coach. And I was so wrong on that. I think coaching is so important, especially in the world we live in where we're kind of the weird ones. Everyone's eating sugar and that's normal. And it's like, if you were addicted to alcohol or cigarettes or something else, and you were trying to overcome that addiction, people would help you. But when you're addicted to sugar, which I think most of us are, you don't get help. You're the weird one, right? And it's everywhere. It's literally in everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? One of the biggest, and I know what you mean, right? Because I'm in a few Facebook groups, and I'm watching what people are saying and experiencing as they're getting onto the carnivore diet, and I sometimes say the same thing. You're way overcomplicating this. It is very, very simple, but simple doesn't always mean that it's easy. And in most cases with the people that I work with, it's the fact that they actually do need somebody who's been there and done it, and who's able to hold their hand a lot of the time as they transition into a new way of being. That's what the coaching is for. They just need someone to be with them on the journey, someone who's done it, someone who they can ask questions to, and support them along, until they get to a point where they feel empowered enough to take it on their own. And in most cases, they then start helping others. So that's the beauty of it.
That's awesome. Carnivores like changed it, like saved my life. I was so sick before finding carnivore. I had so many issues, so I'm pretty passionate about it. And
well, you should be. Yeah, absolutely. You've had some incredible changes, and it must be for you to be creating a documentary. It must be something that you're really passionate about, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing this.
Exactly. And I've seen the healing it's done for so many other people. So for me, like in retrospect, it's like, what if I didn't figure this out? Like coaching would be a no-brainer. Like if you don't have your health, what do you have? You have nothing. It was
nothing.
So important. So I've definitely changed my tune on coaching.
I think what's
too, like when I used to think of coaching, it was like this long-term commitment. Even for some people, maybe they just need coaching for 90 days or 45 days or something like that, and then you could potentially be good to go for the rest of your life, kind of thing.
Do you know what else? I've got a girl. She's my hairdresser actually, and for a long time we've been talking about me on my carnivore journey, but she always asks me questions, but then never steps really into it. And she had been coached by a trainer and who had her doing some weird and wonderful things to drop body fat. And once she started asking me the right questions and then started to consider actually implementing them, she was so confused because she just did not understand that what I was saying to her would actually work. Or, are you sure I should be doing this? This doesn't feel right, Mel. And that just, again, is an example of what people are uh, trained to believe in terms of how they should approach health, how they should approach weight loss. Like it took a little while for her to understand that she doesn't need to do it this way. Try it this way. And it was a mental thing for her. It was all in the head. She was doing things a different way, and she's like, oh my gosh, this feels really wrong. Like, that's because you've been doing it a certain way and it hasn't been giving her results. Now let's try it another way. And it was so different from what she was told before. So when we say it's so easy to go on carnivore, we need to understand how people have been conditioned, and what they're coming out of and stepping into is a process. It's a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And just getting started is going against the grain of everything we've been told, because everything's so backwards. Can't eat.
Yes.
Vegetables are the best thing. You're supposed to eat vegetables. The food pyramid's upside down. It's like you're going into it so confused, being so misled for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Another question, Melissa. Everyone always asks this when I interview carnivore people. What does a day look like in terms of eating for you?
Yeah, I think also preparation is really important for a busy person, and eating carnivore is not always the simplest way to prep and have food on the run and things like that. But for me, I want to eat in the morning. I eat in the morning because it's the time when I'm at home. I can cook at home. I can have my food fresh and hot. So I have a big breakfast in the morning. It's usually 2 Scotch fillet or porterhouse beef steak, some bacon and butter. And I have been getting some mince and doing some little like burger patties with butter and salt. So big plate in the morning, that'll be my main meal. Whilst I'm doing that, I'll also cook up another steak and maybe a little bit more of the mince, and then I'll chop it up and put it into a container, and I'll take it with me to work for my work day, and I'll eat that around about lunchtime. And I guess I just have a few places where I can go and get some charcoal cooked lamb on the run, or I'll just wait, and then I'll come back home and I'll have more steak or some lamb chops or something like that.
Nice. So for anyone just jumping on right now, we're talking to Melissa B, who's hosting Carnivore Collective Live, Adelaide, Australia. There's a link in the description. I'm honored to be a guest speaker there, along with Bella. Dr. Chafee's going to be there. Several amazing guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. Professor
Yes,
Bart
it is.
K.
Yep.
Dave Mack. Dave is incredible too. I've become pretty good friends with Dave. I don't know that anyone has interviewed more carnivores than Dave Mack. I think he's
I know he's releasing a lot of content. I was on his podcast recently, and we had good fun. And he has a lot of interviews coming out. Amazing.
Yeah, that's one of my worries with this documentary is people are going to say, well, you've got some amazing stories in there, but those are just anecdotes. But like you were saying earlier, it really seems to be spreading. And then you look at all the people Dave has talked to. It's incredible. I think he's got
Absolutely.
like 2 videos coming out every single day or something. It's just
he does. I think that's exactly right.
So let's see. We got a couple comments here. Someone is asking, did you see the new take that might be proof we need that cattle is not affecting the climate at all? It blew my mind. No, I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to take a look. Chris Stearns, member for 1 month. Thank you, Chris Stearns. Lost time is my biggest regret as well, and feeling this amazing is what made me realize I was barely living before. Keep spreading the word.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Chris is awesome. Eat to live instead of living to eat. We've got Donna Harper, first time here, 71-year-old woman on day 8,
wow.
Diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver.
Good job, day 8. Keep going.
Yes, just gets better and better. Congratulations on day 8. Speaking of non-alcoholic fatty liver, we have Dr. Nelson in here, good friend of the channel, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Somebody already said it's the documented stories that matter. Yeah, that's Dr. Kiltz has said that to me before. I mentioned Dr. Nelson. I interviewed him the other day. He's been a doctor for 40 years now, I believe. And Melissa, he thinks he's seen upwards of 250,000 patients over the course of his career. He's carnivore now, and he's lost a whole bunch of weight, overcome all sorts of health
Amazing.
issues. He's doing awesome. But I was asking him, I'm like, what sort
Fantastic.
of trends have you seen over the 40 years you've been a doctor? And type 2 diabetes, I think, was one he mentioned, hitting people younger and younger when it used to be unheard of. And the other one he mentioned was this one that Donna mentioned, non-alcoholic fatty
Yeah.
liver, seeing a lot more of that. I know you're not a doctor, Melissa, but I always ask people, healing humanity. Does humanity need healing? Now that you're carnivore, if you kind of look around in the world, what are your thoughts on the health of humanity?
Well, we because I do work closely with Anthony Fayes and the Lean 7 program, and so I can say from my experience receiving messages through about people reaching out for help, it is concerning to see regular messages coming through from people in terms of what they're experiencing, what illnesses, disease, ailments, how they're feeling, like, and sometimes it's not just, oh, I've got this. It's like there's a whole paragraph of things that is going on for them. And it's scary to see, that it's upsetting to feel that there is so many people walking around out there who are experiencing not that great health. Like it's time to make some change and for people to um, become aware of what's possible for them, because we don't want people to be living like this. And I agree with what you said earlier. Sometimes you feel like the weird one or the strange one. It's like I work in a corporate office, and you do start to feel like the odd one out when they're all having their afternoon chocolate cake fix, and you're not, and you're eating your cut up steak or something else. um so we need to make this the norm and not that,
Yeah,
because people are so comfortable with living in a state of uh they're just being unwell. They don't know what it feels like to feel well, And then you can stand at a table whilst everyone's eating chocolate or cake and say, I don't associate with that. I don't eat that. That's not food to me, because I know what fuel I need to put into my body. That's not the right fuel for my body. You wouldn't put the wrong fuel in your car. Why are people putting the wrong fuel in their bodies? So
yeah.
yes, I think a lot of people would be walking around not feeling this. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the normal thing is what I think is hard to overcome. So many people are like, "Well, this is just the way it is. This is just the way it's always been." I think that's because we just look at things from our perspective, but in the grand scheme of things, people haven't always been this sick. I've used this example before, but we're in the movie theater. I remember when I was younger, like a big movie would come out, say Star Wars or something, and you'd see on the news like a line of people down the sidewalk. You'd see like one or two people that were overweight. And now when you see that, it's 7 out of 10,
Yeah.
70%. And people are like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just the way it's always been. No, it hasn't. It wasn't even like that like 30 years ago. The thing that
No.
worries me is this next generation coming up. Like my girls, some of their friends, they're drinking the Starbucks drinks and they've got this much sugar in them, and it's progressively getting worse. Like humans were never meant to consume liquid sugar at the amounts that
No.
I did when I was young, and now they're doing it even more and more and more. I'm really worried that for this next generation, it's going to become really evident, like how sick people are. It's just coming together so quickly. And it's just, the fact that it's normal drives me insane.
It is. It is. It does get frustrating. Like we said before, I think it's just about doing whatever we can to lead by example, and then the people who are open and willing, and some people just will have to at some point, unfortunately, look for alternative ways, because what they're doing isn't working for them anymore, or it doesn't serve them in the best way, or they see what everybody else is doing and how it's positively impacting them, and they want to try it too.
Right. Someone commented, sadly, everyone is sick. Look around at work and grocery stores. Everyone are just zombies trying to get through the day. It's so sad. So much evil by big pharma, big food manufacturers, and government health officials. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Claire, on a brighter note, Claire Ramsdale says, I've got my ticket for the Carnivore Collective. Looking
Oh,
forward to it.
fantastic, Claire. We'll see you there.
Yeah. Carnivore Collective Live, Adelaide, Australia. I've got a link in the description below for those that are just jumping on here and wondering what we're talking about. We got Kay said, I'm going to start carnivore tomorrow again. Do you have any tips to aid digestion? Last time after 3 weeks, my body decided it didn't want to digest the meat properly anymore, and it literally refused to eat. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Melissa?
Well, I think when you've been on carnivore a while, and I'm not sure about at the beginning, and I'm not an expert in that area in terms of getting onto carnivore and getting off of the other way of eating, but I think what we get familiar and comfortable with is the fact that we don't actually go to the toilet as often as we were, and our bowel movements actually become way healthier and not so frequent. So, I mean, obviously, if you're feeling like the body is doing something, if it's not functioning right, or you don't feel well, then yeah, of course, we need to look at something, maybe something about what you're eating, how much you're eating, when you're eating. But I know a lot of people do have that in the initial stages, but then, and I never really did, but I went from mostly keto into carnivore. So I think sometimes easing into it is a bit better. And then it just you just become very regular and there's no problem. So, and most
Yeah.
people I've worked with have had a little bit of problems initially, and then, you know, and I'm not the expert on this. We've got some amazing experts at the event that can talk about this kind of thing, I'm sure, in way more detail than we can. But yes, I think that I know from my experience now, you become very regular and you don't expect to go so often, or you don't, your stomach just works differently. I'm very regular, and I think eventually you get to that. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Usually the first couple of weeks too are hard for people. When I did my first couple of weeks, I realized like for 42 years, I kind of abused my body. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough transition period. But you
Yeah.
also mentioned your body refused to eat. So I wonder too, some people that start carnivore, they'll ask me this question: tell me exactly what you ate. And then they want to copy exactly what I did. And I always tell people that's useless. What I ate this week is different than I ate like a month ago, is different than I'm probably going to eat like 2 months from now. It really depends on how much body fat I have, if I'm fasting, things like that. So when you say you refuse to eat, did you just have like a meat aversion and maybe you just weren't hungry? Which sometimes in that case, maybe you just weren't hungry and just don't eat for a while. I've talked to people that have had meat aversions, and that's usually the advice that they give is they're like, I'm going to fast for a little while and see. And inevitably, every time they do a little bit of a fast, even if it's just for skipping a meal or two, they end up getting hungry again where they want that again. So maybe some things to think about there. Rebecca Burns said, lost 4.8 pounds in my first week. So grateful for this new way of living.
Wow. Amazing.
Congratulations.
Well
Just
done.
better and better. Oaktown Girl was responding to the earlier comment. It really helps to join a dedicated carnivore support group such as Steak and Butter Gang or Dr. Anthony Chafee's group, even if you do it just for 1 month. Totally worth it. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Community, I think community is everything. Just, I mean, not for this, not for just this, for everything, you know, but if this is something that you need support with, and you want to be around like-minded people who are all doing the same thing as you and having the similar experiences, groups are a great way to have that daily support, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's even some people, if you're like, I don't have the money, I can't afford the group. There's even really good free groups that are out there. There's some on
There
Facebook.
are a lot of free groups I've noticed too. Yeah. Right.
My wife joined one. I think some friends run it. It's called Meat Sisters on
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah.
Completely free. You can just go on there if you have, like, my wife, she's over 100 days on carnivore now, but
Wow,
she
good
was
for her.
vegetarian for a long time. So she had some major meat aversion issues, and the groups were wonderful, helping her through some of those things.
Yes.
Trader Nerd had a question: thoughts on fermented foods for gut microbiome? I don't have any thoughts on that. I don't know. I've never done any fermented foods. I've only done beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and I feel incredible. I know, I think Dr. Sean O'Mara maybe has talked about some of those things. He might be one to look into more, but I don't have any personal experience with that. I don't know. Have you done any fermented foods, Melissa?
Not for that purpose in particular. When I was eating a bit more keto, like I would include it in. Perhaps it'd be something that you would use in the initial stages of coming off the standard American diet, then into carnivore, maybe through keto and then into carnivore. I don't have any of that now, so I don't have a lot of experience with it either. It's not something I would, tell a carnivore to be having. Yeah.
So, Melissa, in terms of this event, are you planning on doing this annually now, or this is the first Carnivore Collective, right?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that, because there are a lot of people that have been reaching out to me and asking me to bring it to their city. And I'm already in talks with some more speakers, and looking at the idea is to hold it in Australia and the US every year, and bring together, amazing people who are doing amazing things out there and sharing their knowledge and expertise with the community. So yes, we'll be here in Australia in November. It's looking like we'll be coming to the US first half of next year, and then we'll bring it back to Australia and we'll do it again bigger and better here next year.
That's exciting. Well, we
So
were
exciting.
talking earlier about how on an individual basis, it seems like carnivore is growing, but when we were at the Hack Your Health event too, it seemed like it was almost all carnivores. That used to be more of it was KetoCon before. It used to be more just kind of keto. I know carnivores are also keto, but it seemed like almost everyone going there was like pretty strict carnivore. So it's kind of definitely
absolutely. Also, we haven't spoken much about, just with regards to meat, and we've got beautiful hills here in Adelaide, South Australia. And I recently went up and met a couple who have a beef farm, and they're grass-fed, grass-finished, and they don't no sprays on the property. And their meat is just incredible. It tastes amazing. So I also highly encourage people to source, good meat if they can. Because it tastes amazing and different, and also to support locals who are, these people are going to be at the event. I'll introduce you to them. They are aligned with our message, our core message, and they, after speaking to them, I couldn't believe how many carnivores there actually are out there. When you speak to the people who are selling the meat, I was really surprised that most of their clients are carnivores.
That's so cool. I'm on the same page as you. I think that's one of the most important messages we're hoping to include in the documentary, is to buy local, meet your local farmer, support local farmers. I'm very fortunate. I have right down the road from me, my neighbor is a 6th generation farmer. It's grass fed. It's really good. I know exactly. He names all of his cows. He's like very good steward of his land and his animals. He's got a little shop right on his property. But
yes,
I get some people that will tell me, they'll say, well, that's great. You just have the neighbor right there. That's good for you. And I'm like, I know, I'm very fortunate that way. But if I didn't have the neighbor right there, I'd be willing to drive, even if it was a couple hours, bring my cooler, stock up, and then you get to shake the hand of your farmer. You know where the meat comes from.
yes.
One of the amazing things, this guy, his name is Aaron, he started talking about just meat you get from the grocery store, and it was kind of scary, some of the things he was saying. I'm not trying to scare people, but he was like, he wouldn't eat that stuff. And he said he knows what his cows are eating, he knows what he's feeding them, he knows everything about it. So people can go up there, they can talk to him. He's like, anytime someone can just knock on my door and I'll give them a whole tour of the whole operation, their entire farm. And
Yes.
that's where I want to get my meat from. And I really worry the next generation of people, are they going to take that up if we don't support our local farms? It's not going to happen. And we're going to end up with just a bunch of feedlots and factory farm, and it's going to be a disaster. So I think it's critically important we support local and meter farmers.
Support the local. Well, I'll take you. I think we're going to take you up there, Kerry, the day after the event. This family has invited us up for lunch, so we'll take you up there, and you can meet them. And it's exactly what you just explained. Beautiful family, husband and wife with their sons, and the sons are supporting the father, and they have a small shop, like a butcher shop on their property that people can come to and pick up their meat every week. And so I now put my order in every week, and I go and pick it up from there. And the beauty of it is nice to go out for a drive and enjoy that fresh air and get away from the city and go and see the farmers once a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they also, a lot of these places deliver too. So when people say I can't go out there, well, most of these places are doing delivery too. So it's just about, in Australia, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of these businesses and farms and people out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy to have him as a neighbor too, because he's so passionate about it. But sadly, he works a full-time job on top of it.
As well.
Yeah, and like, I'm not exaggerating. I've said this before on my channel. I'll drive by his house at 6 in the morning and he's out in the field. I'll drive by his house at night, he's out in the field. I'll drive by at 10 p.m., he's out in the field. So he's working probably 3 full-time jobs with the farm. And that's the other reason I'm so passionate about supporting those guys. He's getting close to where he's going to be able to quit his job and just do the farming full-time, which is just
good. Fantastic. Good for him.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we got Bill Knott. Shout out Bill Knott in the chat. How's it going, Bill? Let's see what else we got here. Mucky said, I lost 40 pounds, now doing carnivore. My chronic gout has disappeared and gout-free for 8 months. Congratulations.
Wow, that's great. I've heard quite a few stories about gout. Yeah.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with gout. I had 18 months before I started carnivore. It was agonizing.
Wow.
Melissa, like everything else, it's all backwards. I was told the meat was causing. I'm like, I'm not even hardly eating any meat. I've been terrified of meat. You guys told me it's so bad for me. I was eating plant-based.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things. I think 2 months into carnivore, it was completely gone after 18 months of suffering. They wanted to do surgery on my foot. The gout was so bad, but I have heard that over and over and over again. So many people overcoming gout on carnivore diet.
Yes, I have heard it too. One of our speakers, Bradley Marshall, he's from Melbourne. He had terrible eczema his whole life, and I think he was on carnivore for 3 months, or was it a month? I can't remember. There he is, Bradley Marshall. Look him up. He's got a great story. And he literally lived with this chronic eczema from a child up until being 26, I think. And then he did carnivore and it completely went. His skin is vibrant, beautiful, clear. And he says, I lost so many years in that state because I just wasn't eating correctly.
That's incredible. I think I've seen some of his pictures and it was amazing.
It's pretty, it's quite confronting, poor guy. Yeah. Doing amazing now. He's just looking so vibrant and skin is beautiful.
Wow. I interviewed a gentleman on my channel a while back that had psoriasis and it was so bad. He had it for years and years and years. He said he'd wake up sometimes and a sheet would be stuck to his legs because they were bleeding with psoriasis.
Yeah.
And well, you know the whole story. He's carnivore now and you can't even tell. And he's glowing just like Bradley. You can't even tell you. And this guy tried everything, all the medication, all the advice of the doctors, and none of them ever mentioned nutrition. And he's on carnivore now. He's absolutely thriving.
Absolutely. And then, well, whilst you have the speaker lineup, to the right of Bradley is Liam, and Liam also supports and coaches people to heal their tinnitus from eating carnivore and a heap of lifestyle choices and changes also.
Wow. That's awesome. Good. So in terms of the event, Carnivore Collective Live Adelaide, is there are there topics that each person is speaking on, or is it kind of open at this point?
I think I'm hosting, so I'll be there from the start and talk a little bit about why this event has been created in my own story. And then I think it's I think we'll get some of the the Anthony Chaffees and Dr. Carolyn Harris and the Bart Kays out to talk about a lot of the science, or really get into the details of why carnivore is such a great choice for you in terms of good health and well-being. And then we'll bring in, the Anthony Fayez, personal trainer for 20 years, Natalie West talking about mental health. And then, you've got the two guys who I just spoke about in terms of their experiences on the carnivore diet and how that's helped change them and others' lives. So then we'll have a bit of fun in between. Got some really fun things planned in between as well. So it's really about giving people information, empowering them to make some change, hearing some personal stories. There are some other speakers, who are going to pop up in between the bigger speakers and tell their stories as well. So it's just going to be a party, I reckon, party of information and fun. So
Nice.
yeah,
Well,
really excited, really excited.
I am too. I'm really thankful you invited me. I'm really looking forward to it. Never been to Australia.
Oh, you'll
It's going
love
to be
it.
a lot of fun. So everyone watching, if you're in Australia, you want to come to this event. Dr. Chafee's going to be there. Bella's going to be there. Professor
Yes,
Barquet, all these other great speakers.
yes,
Sign up now
absolutely.
before you run out of time. There's a link in the description below. And is there anything else you'd like to mention or shout out, Melissa, before we wrap up?
I think what I'm hearing a lot from people is we can't believe all these people are going to be in the one room. We can't believe you're bringing these people to Australia in one room, in one place. So if you're in the carnivore community, there are quite a few familiar faces here, and it is going to be an incredible opportunity to hear from some real leaders doing amazing things for the carnivore community and just for humanity in terms of wanting to support and empower people to be and live better. So I'm certain that after a day in the presence of this kind of group and the collective in terms of the attendees who are there and the businesses who are there sharing their products, the idea is to leave people feeling empowered to either continue with how they're living or make some positive changes in their lives that helps them with whatever they're going through, whatever they need. So that's the vision for it anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, carnivore's been so life-changing for me. I know this event is going to inspire and help people change their lives, put them on the right path for sure. So I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited to have you here, so excited to have you come down, and Bella. So yep, not
Absolutely.
long now. What are we in July? So it's not that far away, really.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, really encourage people to purchase their tickets. There's people flying in from all over the country here in Australia, and there's also people flying in. There's people coming in from the US. There are a few that have booked from New Zealand who are coming down. So really incredible.
Awesome. It's going to be
So
great. Well,
really grateful for the support of all the speakers like yourself and all the people coming down and supporting the cause, really.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to meeting
Very
in person.
welcome.
Looking forward to the event. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and questions. If you're watching this after the fact, there's a link in the description below, but you should probably hurry because the tickets are going to sell out. You're going to run out of time if you wait too long. So thank you all
Yeah.
so much. Really appreciate you, Melissa. Have a good day.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.